Ceruledge is the cool, edgy fire and ghost type that people should be using in Generation 9. So stick around, because in today's TviTales, I'll be going over why you should be using Ceruledge. Fire and ghost types might be a little exhausting now with the likes of Ceruledge and Chandelure, but this Pokemon is a physical option, so it provides different angles when it comes down to battling. Ceruledge makes great use of its attack, being at 125, and it's quite a bulky option too, looking at its defences of 80 and 100. And with a speed stat of 85, with the right investment, you could either run this thing with a Trick Room, or max it out and run it in Tailwind, or give it a Choice Scarf. Being a physical fire type, you avoid being burned completely, which helps out drastically, as well as being able to take big damage from Fairy, Ice and Steel types. And the ghost typing helps you not get fake outed, as well as doing a lot of neutral damage to opponents. In terms of abilities, it gets two amazing ones in Flash Fire and Weak Armor. Flash Fire helps out if you Terastallize, but we'll get into that a bit later. And Weak Armor helps out its speed, which I mentioned before as well. Flash Fire is incredible, because if you can bait the opponents use a fire type move and you switch in, your fire type moves will do additional damage, as well as not taking any damage at all. While Weak Armor, if used correctly, can seriously increase your speed, being able to outspeed the opponents if they don't predict you having a +2 speed bonus. There are two roles that this Pokemon performs really well in. With 125 base attack, you'll be using it to do a lot of physical damage with moves such as Close Combat, Iron Head, Night Slash, Shadow Sneak, and its signature move Bitter Blade, which is a physical fire move that heals itself after dealing damage. I'd highly recommend setting up Swords Dance first, so you can take full advantage of Bitter Blade's healing capabilities, but we'll get into that in a moment. Because of how bulky it can be, the other role it can perform is more of a support option, with moves such as Reflect, Light Screen, Will-O-Wisp and Helping Hand. I've even given it moves such as Clear Smog to make sure that I don't get into a sticky situation with Dondozo Tatsugiri, or other Pokemon that enjoy setting up and sweeping. In terms of the Terastallization options, as you can see on screen, Grass tends to be the best defensive one. You resist the super effective water and ground type moves that would otherwise come your way, and because of your fire moves, Ice and Bug types won't threaten you at all, providing you can outspeed them. But even if they do manage to go first, Bitter Blade will just heal you up anyway, so there's no need to worry. And because of Flash Fire, you won't take damage from fire type moves at all. And if someone does accidentally use a fire type move on you, not only will you not take damage, but you can then return the favour by hitting them with a super effective Bitter Blade. But Fire Terastallization is what I'd opt for if I wanted to go for pure offense, especially if you could set up things like the Sunshine or activate your own Flash Fire ability, because then those Bitter Blades will most likely kill the opponent in one shot. It also works as a defensive option if you think about it, because then you're no longer taking super effective damage from Dark or Ghost types. In singles, I'd build it with 160 attack, 150 special defense, and 137 speed. This is so with or without Swords Dance, I can be doing a lot of damage to the opponent, and it has just enough speed to outspeed a lot of Pokemon that I see around this same speed level, such as Dragonite, Tatsugiri, and Goldengo. And the special defense is there just so I can bulk a lot of special hits. Obviously I'd have the Grass Terra typing, so I can set up at least one Swords Dance, and Bitter Blade and Shadow Sneak are a must if you want to do a lot of damage to the opponent. The fourth move slot can be anything. I've only put Iron Head here for now because it checks off the Fairy and Rock types that I'd be going up against, but feel free to change this to whatever your team needs. For doubles, I've built this specifically for Fluttermane, but it works well against other matchups too. It's a little more aggressive with the Adamant nature and 132 in attack, and this is so Shadow Sneak can one-shot a Fluttermane if it hasn't Terastallized with that spell tag Held item, which increases the Ghost type move. But if Fluttermane has Terastallized into a Fairy type, then one Swords Dance is still enough to one-shot it with Shadow Sneak. However, if your opponent isn't Fluttermane, then just know that one Swords Dance is enough to take down a lot of opponents with this spread I've made. And then obviously 124 in HP and max special defense is just there to make sure that you take on a lot of special attacks from opponents. Same moves as before, but I've swapped in Will-O-Wisp just in case you come against physical attackers you can't take on. But if you want to prepare yourself for Dondozo Tatsugiri or other Pokemon that like to set up, then I'd switch this out for Clear Smog. On screen here, Ceruledge is able to outlast the prolonged games, as you saw against Garganacl, but it's also able to sweep quite effectively if you set up one Swords Dance and get off those Bitter Blades and Shadow Sneaks. Terastallizing to set up really works well in singles, and in doubles it's a little bit more harder and complicated, but you're looking at more offensive prowess if you wanted to take down the likes of Fluttermane or other Pokemon that are just too threatening in doubles. So I hope this video has helped you understand just how pivotal Ceruledge can be in any match. It has a great defensive typing that can turn up the heat with its fire type moves, and if set up with Swords Dance, can just be the end of a team completely. With a massive attack stat and enough versatility to work on many teams, this Pokemon is definitely a must if you want to look for a nice fire or ghost type to fill in the slot. I've been your host TviTornado. If this video does really well, then I'll look into covering Armor Rouge. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next TviTales.